Hey guys, welcome back to my sewing room. I'm Kelly and you found me here on Pick and Stitches, and today is part 2 of our 2024 quilts that we made. The first video that I did was all of the sew sampler boxes. So we had 14 different projects in there. I do have one that is outstanding from that. I'm going to include that in my works in progress, even though that one was really for my daughter. And the reason we haven't sewn it is because she wants to sew it. But I'm still, I thought I would leave it out, but it kind of, it's ruining my batting average. Let's be honest here. But I have a couple works in progress that I'm going to carry forward next year anyways. So that's kind of the story on those. These quilts are all of the other quilts that I did this year. Some of them, most of them are the free patterns that I've kind of been going back and forth to throughout the year. So I will definitely include all of those links in the description for you. There were a couple that were actual patterns that you would have to purchase. So I'll let you know as we get to those quilts. And then some of them, I've cleared the design wall. Some of them are really large. I may have to put them up so we can take a peek at them. But yeah, let's jump right on in. Okay, guys, I had to get my notebook out. So I had 14 projects from Fat Quarter Shop. I just put them all together, even if it was a sew sampler box or one of their quarterly boxes. And then these are the other 14 that I have from this year. So these are all from 2024. This first quilt is a Lori Holt pattern, and I will get the pattern in. I think it's called Pines or Tall Pines. This quilt is really large, and I sewed it out in Rust and Smoke by Lila Boutique. And I am so in love with this quilt. Look at this, you guys. I love a text pattern. I absolutely love it. And it is all about outdoors and camping. And it says, live by the sun and listen, the wind is rising and the air is wild with leaves. It just really sings to me. So I will get this up on the design wall because I don't think this is going to do it justice over here. I just think, yeah, I'm like, that's touching my toes. And this is how much further I could possibly stick up my hand. It's huge. It's huge. This was finally the first quilt I made just for my husband. It's definitely a fun, not incredibly masculine quilt, but it is a little bit masculine. So I will insert a bunch of pictures of everything on this. You can see all of it in its great beauty. I just did a cool kind of quilting design on this one. I'm kind of getting up to speed on my long arm, and I know a lot of people after my last video were asking for more information on how I got started and how I'm doing things. I don't pretend I ever have all the answers, but I certainly don't have all the answers on the long arming. This is still very new to me, but I did take a course with Stitched by Susan, and I will put a link here in the description for you guys. It was a game changer. If you don't have an automated quilting machine, that is really what gave me the confidence, because honestly, in the very beginning, it was like a kindergartner had gotten a crayon and was trying to do their ABCs. It was ridiculous. So this is kind of a topographical design, and it will show up much better when I get you the close-up pictures. Okay, so next we have a pattern by Chelsea Stratton Designs, Cherry and Chelsea's Designs. Now this is a quilt called Plaza, and it is just sewn out with, let me back up, art gallery fabrics. It came together really fast, and it was a fun one. If you've got some big fat quarters that you want to use up, this quilt is perfect. I just bound it in this really cute little bright yellow, and then I used the same fabric on the border and the backing. And I liked this one a lot. In fact, I liked it so much, I made two. I never do that. What? So this is slightly smaller. The borders are a little bit smaller. It's the same fat quarters or the same bundle that I used to make it. I just bordered it with this really cute floral and butterfly design. And the same thing, I use the backing and the border to be the same exact fabric. So, okay. Next, we had a really fun sweet quilt. This will be perfect to hold up. This is a Jellyroll quilt. I made it with Beverly McCullough's Sweet Liberty fabric, and I used the entire Jellyroll. So that's the baby quilt. This is the big one. So you back up a little bit more. This is the big one. You guys, it's really large. Again, another free pattern. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I think you guys did too. Everybody's always kind of looking for what can I do with my jelly rolls, and I love it when I use every last inch of it. I made this one and the baby quilt, and I think I still had 3 or 4 pieces, so if you wanted to make some corresponding pillows, but I love this because this one's for me and this one's for donation. So that's going to go to a great cause. I backed them both with this really soft, beautiful flannel, and then they're bound in this little pink polka dot. And then I have not gotten, actually, I did get a label on mine. I did get a label on mine. So this is just one of my Sweetwater labels, and I'll get you guys some close-up pictures. It's super cute. And then on this one, where is it? I did a little bit larger label. This is another Sweetwater label, but then I also paired it with the charity that I'm going to be donating this quilt through. Okay, so that was Rust and Smoke, Plaza ×2, Jellyroll Picnic ×2. Okay, this next quilt is a free pattern, and I will put the link on the description. This is for your fat quarters. If you have the Fat Quarter Club and you're looking for ways to use it up, this is a great one. It's a free pattern, so I will put a link in the description for you guys, but it is just darling. Now, the only thing I did a little bit different was I tied my corners to match because they weren't supposed to match according to the pattern. It was a little bit more scrappy, but I wanted these. They're not bow ties, but like I wanted these. Let's see. Where can I get one that'll show up on camera for you guys? Like here. I wanted those to tie together and to kind of match. Now, they're not all perfect, but they're pretty cute. And then on the binding, I just used my leftovers from the Fat Quarter bundle, and I made a scrappy binding. And you guys are going to be shocked. If you watched 2024 first one, you're going to be so surprised. This, I don't know if I used it on a Fat Quarter Shop quilt first or this one, but this is that backing that I like so much from my other videos too. I mean, I guess when you make 30 quilts in a year, you're allowed to use some on repeat, right? Okay. Getting quite the stack over here. My long arm was empty, but now it's we're testing out its strength and durability. Okay. So next we have a quilt that I called Four Patch Fun. This is a free pattern over on my website. So I'll put a link there in that description. This is just a really bright, vibrant fruit pattern. I wanted to keep it really simple, but you could do a lot to play with colors. It's a very simple block, and these come together super fast. And I just love the quilting on this. This is a design from Susan's class called Paisley, and I think it's actually showing up nicely here in the light. I did a little bit lighter blue. You'll be able to see that when I put it up on the design wall and take some photographs for you guys. I just love it. I bound it in this really bright green. It's actually showing up a little bit brighter right now than it truly is. And then because it was all fruit on the front, I just did these little honeybees or bumblebees. These bees are the cutest. Their leaves, excuse me, their wings are made up of foliage, and it is, I love it. It's all nature. It's all nature, baby. And in that same exact pattern, a lot of you guys were asking me for this. This was one I made for us, for me. Well, for Walter, really. But this is his roar quilt that I made this year. So same pattern as the strawberries and the blueberries, but I made it with Tula Pink's roar. I used her big print black background, and then I just quilted it in these big squares. And I do not have a channel lock. It is not the prettiest quilting ever. I didn't want the fabric to bleed through. So where I pulled my thread, I actually did green on the front. This was one of those quilts where you're like, gosh, what color should I quilt it in? Because I don't, one's going to stand out in one block and not in the other. I did do a self-binding tutorial on this one, and I backed it in this minky fabric because I wanted him to have a really soft, cuddly fabric. Let me see if I can pull it up here so you guys can see the quilting on it. I don't know if that'll show up. This light is working out rather nice. So it's just these kind of odd shaped squares overlapping, and I think it turned out perfect for him. This is actually, I think, gotten the most use out of any of these quilts this year. When I picked it up to bring it to the stack, I'm like, oh, it's so soft. Like even the front of it is so soft. I mean, it speaks to how nice all of the Free Spirit fabrics are, but also how much Walter has used this quilt. Okay, moving on. Another free pattern. This is fat quarter cubes. And this is another perfect pattern if you have a ton of fat quarters that you're trying to use up. This, I think I made it with maybe 18 fat quarters, and it's really large also. I mean, like, it's bigger than the other one. So that's as high as I can possibly hold it up. It is touching the floor. But it's so fun and cute, and it came together so fast. I think I made this in a day, you guys. I definitely made the front in a day. I'm not sure how long it took me to quilt. So again, this one has a similar kind of scrappy binding on it. You'll be able to see that in these photos. And then for the backing, I used this great kind of starburst pattern. Now this is all pattern called Summer Jubilee. This came from Connecting Threads. And so I'll put a link in the description to this bundle. If you like, their pricing is usually pretty good on their bundles. You don't even have to wait for a sale. So that's really nice. And then I always love a 108 backing. It just makes things more efficient. You have less waste, and it just makes me happier. Now we get the first work in progress for this video. I wanted to include all the big quilts that I started this year and haven't finished. I'm not doing any block of the months that aren't done yet, or anything that I don't have all the pieces for yet. But this is one, like, I literally have the backing and the binding. I just haven't gotten to it. So this is a quilt top though. I did finish the entire top. This is not a UFO that I've abandoned midway through. This is my bats and bow ties pattern. And I sewed it out with Sophisticated Halloween. It's a really fun, like, you make your triangles, and then you put it into a stack, and then you cut them apart, and it just gives you this really cute kind of, I feel like it looks like Batman, the Batman building over in Nashville. And so we did it in all Halloween fabrics, and I think it turned out really cute. I will get it bound quilted and bound and ready to go here shortly. All right, we're closing in. So next, I have another free pattern. This one's called Ferris wheel. And this is another great way to use up those fat quarters. So all of you who've been asking me, how do I use up all these fat quarters? This is it. The only thing I changed about this pattern is I added these half square triangles to the top. They were supposed to be waste and discard. I just reused them to make a border across the top. But it's got this really cute on the diagonal. This is another connecting threads bundle group. I think this is called Merry All the Way. I will definitely get the links in the descriptions for you guys, because this is another great big quilt, and it's really fun to have one that's finished. When you make it, it's pretty much something that you can make in a day again, because your blocks are so big. You get to display some really great big fabrics when you've got some of those prints that just don't want to get any smaller. And then I quilted this one out. It's got just some kind of loops and circles, almost like Christmas decorations, and then some hollies mixed in. And I grabbed a 108 that's these really subtle kind of almost star, almost poinsettia, so it definitely works with Christmas for sure. Okay, this next quilt is one I do not have in person. This is one that I gifted this year, and I think it turned out really cute. This is a quilt pattern by Lori Holt, and it is a quilt called Support Group. It was one that they did last year in support of breast cancer awareness, and I chose to sew it out this year. So this is a really pretty, bright, colorful quilt. I think the label turned out beautiful. I'm really pleased with it, and I wanted to include it here. Okay, we're getting down to the last two. This is another free pattern. It is meant to be made with charm packs. It is perfect for those 5-inch squares that you have. We all have them. You buy them. They're cute. It's kind of inexpensive in the quilt shop. But I did do a tutorial with this that shows you how to cut it out of your fat quarters. And then, of course, you could translate that into your yardage. So I just did this really cute little blue dot on the back and then a big navy binding on it. This is a little bit smaller. I did make this quilt and then also a table runner out of, I think it was 12 fat quarters. So it definitely, a little goes a long way. And I had some extras too. I may not have used all 12. I may have kind of cherry picked the ones that I wanted. So that's another free pattern. And then, okay guys, and this last one is another incomplete. We're going to call them incompletes. They're not UFOs, they're a work in progress still. This is the 3rd quarter Sweetwater fabric, and we did all of the snowflakes. I actually cut these with an AccuQuilt die and then appliqued them all on. They had intended to just have the applique and then to center seam, rough edge, leave it. So we did it a little bit different than that. I just don't have a backing fabric for it yet, and so I haven't quilted it and finished it. So technically I have 2 works in progress in this video, but I think for a total of 29 quilts for the year, I'm not too sad about that. So Okay, guys, that's a wrap on part 2 of the 2024 quilts that we have finished. I have 2 works in progress that I'm still going to be completing, but the tops are done. I hope you've enjoyed this. There's probably going to be 10 or 12 different free pattern links in the description, so definitely check those out. And until then, guys, I will see you next time. Also, don't forget to head over to our private Facebook group. I'd love to see what you guys have been working on because I know this entire year I haven't been the only one quilting. So I'd love to see it, and I can't wait until next time. Hey, Walter, you can have your quilt back. if you've enjoyed watching this trunk show or any of my other tutorials or unboxings, please do hit that like and subscribe button. It does help me out a ton. I will try to get a link for all of these quilts into that so that you'll have that available if you're interested in looking at any of those. If I miss one, just put me a comment, let me know what I missed. And yeah, I'd love to hear what your favorite quilt of the year was. So until then, guys, I will see you next time.